I think it's important for the people of Palestine to know that the rest of the world are in maximum solidarity in relation to their just struggles on self-determination. And it's equally important for the rest of the world to understand more needs to be done as it relates to the plight of self-determination of the Palestinian people, including cessation of hostilities that are taking place currently against the besieged people in Gaza, including the fact that it's an imperative that we should engage in a permanent negotiated settlement.
There is a temporary truce as we speak to resolve the war that is raging on in the Middle East. How far are we now? Where is South Africa playing its role here?
Well, South Africa execute obviously our what we call soft diplomacy, which are anchored on persuading the parties to the war to engage in a de-escalation process. You would recall that President Ramaphosa attended the Cairo talks. Minister Pando subsequently made substantive submissions at the UN Security Council. And our view, obviously, is that what the central topology to the resolution of the crisis in the Middle East, and in particular as it relates to Palestine self-determination, is the two-state solutions in accordance with the 1993 Oslo Accords. And you would recall that it's now 30 years since the Accords. Palestine people have at that time agreed to recognize the Israeli as a sovereign state, and equally so, the Israeli state then renegated on its recognition. It negated on its commitment to provide a statehood to the Palestinian people. So the consequence of our convergence here today, it's obviously to heighten the sense of solidarity, not amongst South African state and non-state actors, but in relation to all other diplomatic community heads of missions, ambassadors, consul generals, high commissioners. So that is the messaging today that the South African government are going to provide.
But for many years now, Deputy Minister, people have been calling, countries have been calling, United Nations has been also calling that the people of Palestine must be free, they must decide their future, and also Palestine must be a free state. In your view, do you think that dream will be achieved?
Well, it's an ideal that must be cherished. It's an ideal that must be upheld. Remember, the United Nations in 1977 dedicated an international day on the 29th of November to solidarity with the Palestinian people. And the UN really is the primary agency as it relates to the struggles of just cause, the struggles of self-determination. And our view, obviously, as the South African government, is that unequivocal, there must be clarity of thought in relation to the responsibilities and the obligations of member states of the United Nations. That obviously includes the state of Israel. It includes those countries with a particular proximity to the state of Israel, in particular the United States of America. And our message obviously is to encourage the US to play its role in relation to dialogue, to play its role in relation to stop the arming of the Israeli military machinery, and thirdly to play its role as it relates to provide certainty to a negotiated settlement process. You would recall that previous generations of American leaders have played a pivotal role, and I think we are obviously calling on the administration of President Biden to obviously do the same. The fact that as we are speaking, more than 15,000 lives of innocent women and children, innocent Palestinian people have been lost, in a war that has been executed by the military machinery of the State of Israel, is rather concerning, it's disheartening, it's painful. And I think we are here commemorating 46 years of the declaration of the UN International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, having witnessed on a first-hand basis the bloodshed that are, befalling the Palestinian women and children. We are speaking here about in excess of 10,000 young children, young women, mothers that have been maimed down by military machinery.
Before I let you go, Deputy Minister, some are saying South Africa is playing double standards in this conflict. In Ukraine, Russia, South Africa took a non-aligned stance. But in this one, they are with the people of Palestine. What is your response on that?
No, there's absolutely no lack of understanding from the South African government. Remember, our foreign policy speaks about global solidarity. We are actually pro-Palestine, so let us be unequivocal around that. It's reconcilable with our foreign policy. Secondly, as it relates to the war in Ukraine and our non-aligned posture between the Russian Federation and Ukraine, that is encapsulated in the Bandung Principles that speaks about the centrality of non-alignment. But of course, if you look at the two conflicts, through a particular optics, in relation to Palestine, you have more than 200 UN decisions, resolutions on Palestine self-determination that has been ignored, that has been rendered, not pivotal by the Israeli state. That includes UN Security Resolution, I think it's 2335, which speaks about the illegal occupation of the Israeli people. So there is absolutely no lack of clarity. In relation to Ukraine, there was the UN Security Council resolutions on the 2015 Minsk Agreement, and the reluctance and failure of the UN Security Council once again to implement its decisions in Ukraine, in particular as it relates to eastern Ukraine, have been one of the key factors that have led to the rising of the political ferment in eastern Ukraine and the war, between Ukraine and Russia. So there's absolutely no lack of certainty. We are clear, South African people, as represented by its government, are pro-Palestine because of our global solidarity, foreign policy priority.
Thank you very much for your time, Deputy Minister. That was Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation here in South Africa. The Department and the Embassy of Palestine, they are having an event here to commemorate this big day.